So today we're going to be doing a quizzes assignment. And before letting you do that quiz assignment, I want to review distributive property and combining like terms before the quiz assignment. Maybe instead of writing down that title, just go ahead and write down class opener in your notebooks and put today's date and day. And what are we doing? We're going to be reviewing distributive property and combining like terms. And today, particularly, I want to get you really comfortable with the calculator, right? So we don't make any careless mistakes. So let's jump right in it. So this is the first problem we're doing, and it is combining like terms, right? Now, how do we combine like terms? You simply combine the terms that are alike, that look alike. What am I talking about? I'm talking about x's with x's and numbers with numbers, okay? So let's always start with, if you're dealing with x's and numbers, let's start with the x's first. And I like to circle. So I want to circle negative 3x, the positive 5x. And notice that when I am circling, I'm including the sign that's in front because that's what tells me if I have or if I owe. And then over here, yes, I'm going to circle that, but I'm going to circle both of them because technically the minus minus becomes plus plus, right? So you could do this in your head, but if you're struggling with adding and subtracting integers, that's why we have the calculator. So check it out. Let's take the calculator, and the calculator can't do x's, but you could at least type in a negative 3. By the way, the negative sign on your Casio is right here. It's directly above the 7 button. It's right there. It's like a negative inside parentheses. Or you could technically hit the minus sign, but I would rather you identify the negative sign right now, that negative button, and click it and type in, as you see here on my calculator, negative 3, and then type in plus 5, and then type in, you could do a minus minus 8x, or you could do a plus 8, right? And again, the calculator doesn't do x's, but we're just doing the values in front of the x's right now on the calculator. So negative 3 plus 5 plus 8, that gives us 10. Are you with me? Okay. So let's write down 10, but we are talking about x's, so you're going to put an x right there. Okay. And now we're going to move on to the numbers. And of course, we're not going to use the same circle to combine the numbers because then everything's going to be circled. So I'm going to switch to a different type of symbol, like a squiggly underline, negative 4 and negative 2 and positive 5. Now, you could do this in your head, but if you're struggling, you could use a calculator. And as you could see here, I typed in negative 4. I actually hit the minus sign accidentally, but it still works. Negative and minus, same thing. Minus 4, minus 2, plus 5, right? Minus 4, minus 2, plus 5. Type that in your calculator, hit equal, and it'll give you that answer, negative 1. And we are just talking about numbers, so you're just going to put a minus 1, and there is your answer. Pretty easy, right? Especially with the calculator. So there should be no excuses, we're messing up. We should be able to get this down with the calculator. By the way, the calculator, the equal button is down here, okay? So if you ever want to hit the equal button to get that final answer. Let's move on to a different question. The other one was combining like terms, and this one's distributive property, okay? So whenever you have parentheses, you're supposed to look at the inside of the parentheses and see if you could do anything, and we cannot. Because you have a 4x take away 9, you can't take away x's and numbers, right? You can't subtract x's and numbers. So we move on to the multiplication of negative 7 on the outside of the parentheses. And this distributive property, we are going to distribute the multiplication of this negative 7. So everybody, please circle that minus 7 and then distribute it drawing arrows like that. So negative 7 times 4x. Yeah, and if you struggle with the negative 7 times 4x, go ahead and use a calculator. Type in the negative button, and then the 7, and then the multiplication sign. Or you could technically even do parentheses if you wanted to, but let's go with the multiplication sign. Okay, so negative 7 times, and then type in 4. That'll be a negative 28. Now, we know that we're talking about x's here, so you have to put this x on your answer. So you put that x down there. So I'm just setting this up for you so you could do it all on the calculator so you don't make mistakes, right? And then we distribute the negative 7 times the negative 9. If you're confused, use a calculator, right? Negative 7 times negative 9, positive 63. Now, well, it doesn't say plus 63. It says 63, but if you just put a 63 right there, that's going to look weird. You have to put the positive because it's a positive 63. It's a plus sign. Pretty simple, right? Especially with the calculator. So you guys have calculators, please use them so you don't mess up on these simple multiplication problems. On this question, we have a combination of both. We have distributive property and combining like terms. Now, if you're looking at this and you're thinking, oh, I know what 5 take away 2 is, that's 3. That's already wrong. You're not supposed to do that. You are not supposed to subtract before multiplying. So let's multiply this -2, and when you circle it before drawing the arrows, make sure you include the sign that's in front, right? That's a -2. Even though it says a -2, I want to call it a -2. -2 times x, what's -2 times x? It's exactly that, -2 with an x. -2 times +7, if you don't know, use a calculator. That'll give you a -14. And then you bring down this 5 that's out in the front, just bring it down. So you have a 5 right there. So we've distributed. What is distribution? It's the distributive property. It's the distribution of multiplication. But after distribution, you have combining like terms, which is adding or subtracting, and you have 3 of them. It says 5, take away 2x, take away 14. Out of these 3, you could combine the first one with the last one. And I just think of it, I have $5, I owe $14, I'm still gonna owe $9. But if you're not good at that, then use a calculator and type in 5 minus 14, and it'll give you a -9. So the -2x, you can't combine it with anything, so just bring it down. And if you did it on the calculator, 5 take away 14, that's a -9. So you're just gonna put a -9 right there, and that is your answer. You see, it's easy. Any questions? No? Let's try one that's more fun, especially with the calculator. Check that out. Please copy that down. It says 5 minus the fraction 2/3 times parentheses 6x minus 9. So, of course, whenever you see parentheses, there's nothing to do in there in this situation, so you go to distributive property. So what we're going to do is we're going to distribute the multiplication of -2/3. And remember, when you circle it, include the sign that's in front, and then you draw some arrows, -2/3 times 6x. Now, that, without a calculator, it is a process. You have to write it out, right? But check it out. With the calculator, there's this amazing button right here. This button right here, see it? That is a fraction. Go ahead and click it. And once you click it, you're going to see that you could actually type in the -2/3. So if you did type in the negative sign first, then the negative sign will be out here. But if you didn't, if you did the fraction bar first, that's okay. When you do -2, you'll have a -2 in the numerator, which is the same exact thing, so it doesn't really matter. And you're going to go -2/3 times 6, because the calculator can't do x's. So -2/3 times 6 with the calculator, hit equal, it'll give you -4 as the answer. So right below this 6, I am going to put a -4 with an x. Are you with me? The calculator does it for you, guys. Can't get easier than that. All you got to do is get comfortable with the calculator. And then after that, do -2/3 times this -9, right? So let's do that on the calculator. There it is. I just typed it in. -2/3 times -9. Here's a negative. There's a fraction button. You type in the 2 on top, and then you could use this arrow to go down to the denominator, and then type in 3. And then if you're in the denominator, use the side arrow to get to the side of the fraction, and then hit the multiplication button. And then you could type in that -9, the -9, then hit equal, and it'll give you a 6. So if I just put 6 right there, that's going to be weird. What symbol should I put in front of the 6? A plus, yeah, a positive. That's right. So I have distributed -2/3 times 6x, got that. -2/3 times -9, got that. I didn't even think about it. I just did the calculator did it for me, right? What about this 5? We're just going to bring it down. And now out of these 3 terms, 1, 2, 3, I want to combine the x's with the x's. Oh, I got a -4x here. Hey, there's no other x's. Okay, so that means that that's the first part of my answer, -4x. And then I want to combine the numbers with the numbers, the 5 with the 6, 11, right? Plus 11. And there's your answer. And of course, you could have done 5 plus 6 on the calculator too, if you wanted to, right? The calculator is your friend. It's amazing. What do you think? Easy peasy with the calculator? Let's go for one of the hardest types of questions you might see on the quizzes assignment. Here it is. Everybody copy this down. It's really weird because you have these parentheses right here. And then within the parentheses, you have another set of parentheses. So you got to zoom in all the way to that and distribute that positive 6 first. Okay, so everybody first copy it down. So now we have it copied down. We are going to look at the inside of these parentheses. There's a 9 plus 6. I'm not going to add. We know that on PEMDAS, adding and subtracting is at the very end. I am going to multiply. I'm going to distribute that positive 6. Positive 6 times x, that's a positive 6x. Positive 6 times negative 1, you could do it on the calculator if you want. You'll get a negative 6. Okay, now I'm still on the inside of these parentheses. So I'm going to bring down that 9. I'm going to bring down that 9 right there. And what should I put right here in front of the 6? An addition sign, yeah, because positive 6 times x is a positive 6x. So we're going to put the addition right there. So we have 3 terms, 1, 2, 3. Out of these 3 terms that are still inside these parentheses, right? Actually, let me just rewrite it so nobody gets confused. There are the parentheses, and there's a 5x out here in the front. So out of these 3 terms, I could combine the numbers with the numbers. So if you don't know, just get a calculator and go 9 and then minus 6, and yeah, you're going to get 3. But what about the 6x? I can't add it with any of these, so I'm just going to write the 6x first. And then like what you guys just said, 9 minus 6 is 3, and that's a positive 3. And then you bring down your parentheses. You bring down the 5x. Now this is where it's a little different than the rest, because I still need to distribute the 5x into these 2 terms right here. I need to take this 5x and multiply it and multiply by both of these. So here's where it's a little tricky because we have an x times x. And I hope we all remember that x times x is really just x squared, right? That's something we need to know. So when we distribute 5x times 6x, well, you could do 5 times 6, that's 30. And yeah, when you do x times x, yes, it's x squared. Perfect. And then when you distribute 5x times 3, well, 5 times 3 is 15, and just bring down the x. And ladies and gentlemen, we are done. That's as hard as it gets. We are ready now for the activity on quizzes, okay?